Hi, this is my third video. I've been making videos since last week, and just want to talk about my experience as a target individual. I'm still trying to keep my identity secret for now, just because I am still trying to look for employment. But in this video, I really want to talk about my experience with since my V2K. So just kind of focus on my mental aspect and what's been going on in my head since my V2K. So on August 19, 2019, I had my first voice to call. Ever since then, things have never been the same, especially mentally. My brain hasn't been the same. Feels like my brain is being rewired. What I mean is, I've been getting certain sensory stimulation, especially early on. I would say the first 3, 4 months, I would feel something like in my lower guts compared to when you take off. When you're in the plane, you're taking off. That feeling you get in your lower stomach. I used to get that every time like something happened. So it was more of like a trigger. So if I heard somebody scream from outside of a honk or something slamming, I would get those sensations on my lower stomach. And then different sensories were impacted, um, but they were always like triggered by something else, right? Um, they were mostly, you know, ways to condition me. And for the first 3 months, they were pretty extremes. Like they're very extreme. It, it was like it felt like extreme anxiety, extreme stress. But it was just something that it didn't feel natural. It felt like it was enforced somehow. And I just want to, for the target individuals that have been going through it for longer, that have better lingo, better way to express themselves. I'm still learning the technical wordage, but I can just explain what's going on, So I apologize if I use basic language. I'm sure um, there's better way to explain what's happening, but I'm just gonna want to go through what's been happening to me, and I might not have the right technical terms for what's going on. And yeah, so since August 19, I've been having some bizarre stimulations from my sensory. It started off like my lower stomach was the most intense. Like I said, it felt like I was like, when you're in a fast car or something fast, like when you're in a roller coaster, those feelings you get. I used to go get those every time something happened. Like every time there was a loud noise, a slam, the door was slammed, or some kind of like pounds, something pounding the wall. It used just to get me. It was basically conditioning me for something. Also started getting dream manipulations. So prior to August 19, I rarely have dreams, but since then until now, I have at least 3 to 4 dreams per night, and they're mostly disturbing, and and I wake up after every single dream or slash nightmare. I remember when I started getting them. One of the operator did mention that it's like a symphony, right? Because there's 3 to 4 dreams per night, and I don't know much about symphonies, so I assume that symphonies have some kind of 3 to 4 parts, and that's what. So it seems like they were having fun with it. Whoever is who's behind, who's involved, knows about symphonies, and just said something about this is like a symphony. They're producing a symphony, a symphony of torments. And the first dream is usually kind of just weird and sometimes involve people in your past or something. And then the second is just disturbing, like super disturbing, and disgusting. Some of you target individuals know what it is, that makes it disturbing, disgusting. Um, and the last two, or depends. Sometimes they're okay, but sometimes in the last, right before you wake up, there's something disturbing that happens, and you wake up, and you tend to wake up in like with your heart just pounding, or you wake up mad, or you wake up frustrated, um, But now, you're kind of used to it. I try to just maintain my cool. I go to bed knowing that it's going to be another terrible dream, or so I go to bed expecting terrible dreams and disturbing dreams, and it's the norm now since August 19th. um, the worst part too for me at least are the intrusive thoughts and the imagery they put in your head, right? um, it's meant to torment you. It's meant to irritate you. It's just made to make you mad. It's meant to disgust you. It's meant to destroy your self-esteem. It's just disturbing stuff. Uh, Early on, it was just so because those are thoughts that you never thought of before, and it becomes something that happens every every day, like especially early on, it's every hour, even less. It was just back to back terrible things, and you feel guilty for having those thoughts, but those thoughts are not yours, right? It's prior to August 19th, none of that in my head. After that, after V2K, just terrible thoughts, just disgusting things that disgust you, and you physically try to shake your head, just hoping that shaking your head is gonna, you know, it's gonna stop this, right? It's gonna stop this terrible thing going through your head, and it's disgusting, and it makes you, it just disgusts you, and you wonder like the people who are involved in creating this and inserting this in your head, what kind of people, like if it's, if it's artificial, it's one thing, but this, I'm sure there's people behind it, human beings, setting things up. And I keep asking myself, especially early on, I was like, who would even want to be doing this? Like, what kind of individual is okay working? I mean, how much do they get paid for it? To do these disturbing things in somebody, even being involved with that itself is just, it's just disgusting. So I understand they might enjoy tormenting somebody, but tormenting in this way is, I mean, I understand the psychopath, and some people find pleasure in tormenting others, but it's just this level of disgust, and if you're hands on, if and it's happening, and it's just, it's so disturbing for me to not for me to go through it, and for me to know that there's people around me, who participate, who work with this program, and help push that in somebody's head, right? And like I said, I think most target individuals have had those experiences, or maybe still happening, but it's early on for me, it was just so disturbing. It just pissed me off, really got me frustrated, to the point where you just want to pound the wall. But you, after a while, you just try to fight, like you do whatever you can to cope with it, and just, push it out somehow. You really don't want it in your brain, but at the same time, you feel guilty that it's happening to your brain, but you're not the one, this something is pushing it in, and it has nothing to do with you, right? And that I would say that's out of all the things that are happening to me, it is the worst. This is the worst part because it's just disgusts you, and and things that you don't usually ever think about. Now it's like the norm. It has to go in, and you can even something at this point you can see it coming. Like it's just, but early on it was more extreme than what it is now. Now it's a little more subtle. It feels like almost like you can see it coming, but it's a little more subtle than the first 3 months. Early on it was just like bombarding you, boom, boom. It's like now that it almost like it's in, like, and now it's just comes in and out, like, but it doesn't. It's not as much as it used to be. Um, so so you kind of find a way to deal with it. You just remember they're not your thoughts. Somebody else is playing with your brain and your mind and is able to do this. And like I said, it takes a special kind of people to be able to work with this kind of content. And it's disturbing. One other thing is, I've been noticing my brain is working against me, right? It's like your brain is trying to rationalize what's happening to you and justify something, or justify why it's happening to you. So you know what's happening. In reality, you know what's happening is terrible. It's diabolic. It doesn't make sense. It's just something that's so terrible. There's no words that can describe it. But in your brain, you start to justify it, rationalize it, thinking, okay, maybe there's a reason I did this. Maybe I'm deserving. Your brain is always fighting against you. When you know better, your brain is just like trying to take it where they want it. It seems like your brain is against you, but you're in the right. It seems like it's able to just put an idea, and your brain is able to justify, come up with explanation why this is okay, why this is happening to you, and it's okay, right? While you know that what's happening to you is this level of tormenting is disturbing, disgusting, and whoever is in charge, whoever is participating, whatever reason just does not justify any of it. It's unjustifiable by the fact that people behind this should be behind bars, should be, in trial for what they're doing. And, you know, if, they're probably miserable individuals and they feel like them, so that those individuals are not only in the wrong, but they're the type of wrong that that could ruin society, right? It's the kind of evil that ruins society as a whole. And the sad part is some of the perps I've seen them, right? They look like they look very friendly and very normal, which makes it even worse because those people are obviously have access to you know places where they can inflict this to many more. So they are the lowest of the low in society, just because knowing what they're doing, but how far they can take it and who they can do it to. Um, but yeah, so your brain always works against you, even if you're in a good state of mind. It will just turn around and bring you back to a low. There's also I've noticed that organ control. Like I feel like my organs are being manipulated and somehow controlled. Maybe there's a better terminology for it, but definitely I can feel my heart beat faster. Sometimes harder, and just beating faster at random times. I can feel like some of my muscle twitching every once in a while, like on my arms, on my leg, just like, especially when I'm kind of zoning out. It just like wakes me up. It's just like a twitch, and different other areas, that makes it very uncomfortable. And, you know, Even your breathing sometimes, especially at night when you wake up. I had times where I had trouble breathing, and I had to just calm down because just waking up with loss of breath. It's just like it's hard for you to breathe, and it happened a few times. But I never had any issues prior to like August 19th. With breathing. Even like sometimes just walking the stairs, I'm breathing harder than I should be. Mind you, I'm in early 30s. I've never had like health issue prior to this. I'm not you know overweight. I'm not overweight. I shouldn't have this kind of issues, but since then I'm breathing sometimes is an issue. Kind of feel like sometimes I'm sweating. Sometimes I'm sweating a little too much. Um, and it's it's just I can this changes to my body that I've noticed, and some of you target individuals are going through the same thing, um, and also my intellect, my cognitive intellect has been dwindling since August 19th. I'm having more issues with like reading. I'm having issues processing information. Um, Simple math sometimes takes longer than it should be. My memory sometimes has problem like more than it used to. And yeah, at my age, shouldn't have that those issues, and it's something new. But my intellect has been dwindling. I can, it takes I take I have I do mental exercise every day and kind of see myself like something that would be easier is getting harder for me. So obviously my intellect has been, my intellect is being impacted by it. But I keep trying to fight it, but there's something I've noticed since August 19. And going back to my brain, your brain fighting against you, there's always degrading comments. You, the people, however it goes into your head, there's always degrading comments, things that disgust you, or things are said in a way that just keep you down. And I think that's why your brain works against you, because your self-esteem is getting kind of destroyed by day, right? Um, Whatever lies, whatever exaggeration, whatever thing they can manufacture, they keep saying 24/7, to the point where you could even almost you don't want to like grasp it, but it's going in. Um, and I was thinking, it's it's obviously killing your self-esteem. It's also they creating this persona in you and just ramming it. And every time you feel like yourself, they're back, and within a few hours, and keep going with degrading comments, and it brings you back to a low. And that's since August 19, right? You can since for me August 19, since my first V2K, it's just been like my self-esteem seems to be on the attack, right? But at the same time, you understand that what's happening, especially when you're a target individual. It took me a while to know that this was happening to others, and there was a name for it, and this was not just you, but there's thousands and maybe millions of individuals going through the same thing. When you understand that, and when you can do some research and inform yourself, you see there's a tactic, right? Um, they create a new persona uh, that's not you, but that's easier to detest. Something that can just keep building on and creating. It's not reality, but it's created for you. Just so it makes their job too easier too, because at that point, right? If they keep saying those things, creating this storyline, it's easier for them to do the nasty things they're doing to you, right? Understand that they're trying to push you to hurt yourself, to like things that you far from, right? And this is a terrible job to have. And it's you know it's definitely um, if your job is to make sure that this individual hurt themselves or hurt others, you don't want to face reality. You want to create a false reality, and you want to enforce that reality not only to present to others so they can join, but also for yourself. It will be hard for you to just sleep at night knowing that, unless a psychopath. But I don't think they're all psychopaths. I think some of them are really able to detach themselves like psychopaths do, and then and they might even enjoy it. Others they need to create a false reality, right, where it's okay to do what they're doing. And so those degrading comments not only destroy your self-esteem, which is one of the tactics, but also helps doing their job, right? And yeah, so when you get back to who you were, your real self, then they come back. The V2K goes, you keep hearing degrading things that could trigger to for you to think negatively of yourself. Um, but yeah, so I understand this is something, it's one of the tactics that's been used on many target individuals. After listening and watching the different testimonies, um, so I would say that, for me, what I do is like I do my best not to listen, but it's, obviously it's not easy. So they're, they're able to access your mind, and you are um, you're forced to, to listen to it. But I remember that this is also for their own sanity, right? For their ability to do their job and you know, feel proud in what they're doing, because it's easy to delude yourself into thinking that you're doing a good deed when the victim self-esteem is at a low, and that you can force the victim to believe that what is being done to them is deserved, right? So it's easier for whoever doing this to do their job and to participate, and also to present, right? But in reality, that those individuals, those participants, those perps are doing something horrendous, and some might say sadistic, and they they should, and I think at some point in the future they will pay for what they've done, and they will be remembered for what they've done, the terrible things they've done to thousands of people, thousands of civilians, and justice will be done for what they've done, not only to us, to all the millions of target individuals around the world. And yeah, so this is really what specifically has been happening to me mentally. I know this, I don't have all the lingo down, but I just wanted to kind of speak about my experience in my own word the best way I can. And please, if there's more information, feel free to leave me a comment, or just please tell your story. I'll make sure to watch it, and me watching other testimonies really helps me, just in general, know that first it's not only happening to me, which is not, but also kind of understand others, and in in the future, I think this will bring more awareness to this situation. For the known target individuals that aren't participants, that are just watching this, I know what I'm saying is sounds 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 kind of sci-fi, insane or crazy, but I will just ask, like I say, keep saying, just do your research. Keep listening to the different testimonies, and you'll see that there's so many similar stories around the world. It sounds crazy, but I just be open minded. And for some of you that are kind of aware of what's going on, but rather stay in your bubble or don't want to do more research because this is something you don't want to be involved in, I think just rather be safe and just kind of learn. And if this ever happened to you, you'll know the signs. And like me, who was completely in the bubble when it happened to me, I was unaware completely, and had to kind of within after a few months, I had to do my own research and figure out that this is not happening just to me. But thank you again for taking the time. And to all my target individuals, be strong, stay safe, don't harm yourself, don't harm others. Just trying to stay in good health and just do whatever you need to do to cope. I know it's easier said than that. I'm trying to do the same. And, you know, please know that justice will be done one day for what they've done to us. At this point, we just need to tell our story and keep, the awareness going. Thank you for taking the time, and God bless you.